That most of the Singapore women, they are can look actually quite unfeminine in my opinion, and a big size, like about 1.6 meters. And I think that's not my type of girl that I would like, because that's important when I choose a partner. And then most of the Singapore girls, they like to cut short hair. Very seldom that they have the long hair. I would say like 80% or 70% the girls in Singapore, they cut the short hair. Only 20% remaining is long hair. I would say many girls in Singapore like to cut short hair, and this become a habit when they are old. They may have the Hokkien auntie. That means they actually also cut short hair for the elderly ladies, and it's Hokkien, but actually other races they also cut short hair. So if you are a tourist coming Singapore for the first time and you see like big size girls, and you don't be shocked because it's part of the norm here. Of course, not every woman that you see on the street is from Singapore, some are from Philippines, Indonesia, and the neighboring countries. Four girls smoking this way. Just be a little bit about the Singaporean guys. Firstly, they have the two groups of Singaporean guys. For Singaporean guys, there are basically two groups. One is before they do the army, the NS. The second group is after NS. So if it's after NS, then the attitude is different from before they do NS, basically because they get taken by their PCs and sergeants. So after their army, they tend to have some attitude problem, like they become arbing kind of style. What I mean by arbing style is that they don't care about much of the things and try to do things that is quick, but then it may affect other people in a negative way. Singaporean guys may also speak loudly or even shout to get things done. And the other side is before they do NS, then more or less they are still quite okay. They listen to their parents and they are quite okay. But then once they do army finish, then it's a different story. I'll just talk briefly of the shopping malls in Singapore. It's clean, it's nice, there's toilet every level. But the thing is super expensive once again, and secondly more or less most of the mall they look about the same concept. Restaurant, dining, shopping. I think in every country is the same, but in Singapore it's more like identical stuff in most of the malls except when you go to the mega malls like Vivo City, then the Orchard is another story. I mean, you are coming for Singapore for the first time, then you think the malls are good. But after some time, you just get to like, oh, it's about the same. Then you just get bored of it. There are many tourists from different countries coming to Singapore, and some of them even work in Singapore. But to tell you guys, the local Singaporeans do not really like the foreign people to come to our countries because they just don't like. For example, the from China, from Philippines, Vietnam, it's not like all of them don't like, but in some of them have the mentality that they are disturbing the Singaporeans' way of life, and their job and so on. But then this is just a reality. Some people like, some people don't like. There's debating, it's endless debating. The thing is like Singapore has its own share of tourist attraction from the Chinatown, Vivo City, Sentosa, and then some other places, Garden by the Bay. But then if you come a few times, then you'll be like bored of it because actually you just need a few days or maybe 2 days to finish all the attractions. So if you come for the more times, it's like wasting the flight ticket and also the money on the hotel and stuff. That's the same for the street food Singapore. You see, Singapore is just like this. Hokkien mee, char kway teow, chicken rice, laksa. More or less, you just try a few times, then that's it. To be frank, if I'm a tourist, I just come to Singapore one time and that's it because most of the things are just like this. They're not really like special. Maybe the street food like the nasi lemak, the kaya toast, chicken rice, laksa, and then you travel to Garden by the Bay, Sentosa, Orchard Road, Vivo City, Chinatown. Most of these places is just like go to one time and just find the assignment will fit over time. The second time you go and try. Another misconception is Singaporeans are very rich. I would just say the salary is not bad. I mean, from like 3,000 to 4,000 for an average office job. But then if you're looking at retail, of course, will be lower. But then one thing you need to important to note is that the cost of living is also so high in Singapore. For example, if you rent a room in Singapore, it can cost you up to 1,000 Singapore dollars. And if you eat every day 3 meals, the 1 meal, let's say, is $7 including drinks. So one day about $20. So you multiply by 30, that's $600 a day. So after deducting for the food and the rent of the room, how much you have to save, you can save, and then you will deduct the transport as well, the MRT, the bus, and it's best out there you can take the Grab or the taxi because then you save the money to send back to your parents, your homeland, or maybe you want to buy a house in your home. So that's what many foreigners think. Come to Singapore and be rich in a few years, you can buy a house back your homeland, but this is not the truth. And one thing is that there are so many laws in Singapore. If you cannot find something for like throwing a can of drink elsewhere, not in the litter bin, or to smoke in non-standard areas, then you have to pay the fine again. Then the fine can be for $300 Singapore dollars, and that is bad. One reason I think of why foreigners like to come to Singapore because it doesn't have any winter, so they're from like Europe or something, so they come to Singapore during those winter time and they feel like not cold. The second reason is like they don't need a visa to come to Singapore. For example, the tourists from Thailand or Vietnam, they come to Singapore is no need to pay any money for the visa, and they think really good because if they apply, if you go to other country, you need to apply the visa, you need to pay money. Thank you. Give an example of how high the cost of living is. For example, you buy the banh mi bread of the Vietnam in Singapore, it costs you like $10.80 in Orchard, but if you go to Vietnam, of course, it just costs like $2 Singapore dollars, so there's a 5 times increase. Some elderly Singaporeans they just they hope that Singapore don't have any foreigners, just like the 1990s when there are absolutely no foreigners or very little. Nowadays we have the workers from Bangladesh, China, Thailand, Vietnam, and many other countries, Myanmar, Indonesia, Malaysia, all come to Singapore to work or do other some other stuff.
Happy birthday.
So you can see how the Singaporean girls dress up now. This is Junction 8, neighborhood mall. And then after that, we're going to the Orchard where they're supposed to be girls dressing up. We'll check it out later. Thanks a lot.
First?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.